Sometimes you need a watch that's just pure fun, and that's why I was drawn to this watch from Proxima that we're going to be taking a look at today. When you look at this watch, it's very clear that this is 90% a straight-up Rolex homage, and I'm typically not a fan of homage watches, but the other 10% of this watch was so fun and creative that I felt it just completely transformed the watch, and I really wanted to get it in and check it out. This is a QWERTY keyboard dial from Proxima watches. Let's check it out. Hey guys, this is Dave. Welcome back to my channel, Just the Watch, where I like to talk all about affordable watches and affordable watch collecting. As always, I'm filming this from my home here in Iwate, Japan. And today we're going to be taking a look at a watch from China, which, as you would come to expect with Chinese watches, means that it's going to be very high spec, very affordable, very well built, and maybe not particularly original. But when I saw this Rolex Day-Date style watch with that crazy QWERTY keyboard dial, I felt like it just completely transformed the watch to the point that this watch is going to have more appeal to people who are interested in IT and computers than to people who are actually interested in a Rolex watch. And that's actually the case for me because while my current occupation is serving as a missionary church planter here in Japan, before that I worked in IT for many years and I've always had a huge interest in computers and gaming and all of that fun stuff. And so I really wanted to check this watch out from Proxima. Now, they did send me this watch for free, which is why you saw the paid promotions flag at the beginning of this video. However, other than the watch itself, I did not receive any compensation, nor did they have any control over the content of this review. So with that out of the way, let's jump in and take a look at it. Okay, let's start by answering the question of whether this is a good watch from a quality and value standpoint, and it absolutely is. If you've been following the advances in Chinese watchmaking over the past few years, this will come as no surprise, but the value on offer here is absolutely outstanding. I would say the level of quality is on par with what I've seen from some of the best Chinese watch manufacturers out there, like San Martin. You can pick this watch up new for under $150. I don't think I've seen this level of finishing and polish on a watch anywhere near this price range. Now, I think the way that they were able to keep the price this low is that they did choose to use a Chinese-made PT 5000 automatic movement rather than going with a Swiss or Japanese automatic movement. And we'll talk about that in a minute because that's probably the only question mark in terms of the technical features of this watch. But going back to the overall quality, the finishing here is very good for a watch in this price range. You're getting very crisp definitions between the polished and brushed surfaces. The polished sides have a brilliant shine to them, and the fluted bezel is very excellently manufactured and has just a great light play with it. And that keyboard dial is really what makes this watch so fun and special. Some might find it a bit gimmicky, but you can't argue with the level of quality that went into the production and manufacturing of the dial. The printing is very crisp and it has a wonderful 3D effect to it. There's no dust or smudges anywhere under the glass, and the hands and markers are very sharply cut out. You even get a nice little application of lume on the hands and markers. It's not particularly bright, but it's about on par with what you'd expect from a watch in this style. But to really highlight the level of value on offer here, I want to talk about the bracelet actually. This is an insanely good bracelet on a $150 watch. These are solid links with solid end links included. You're also getting quick release spring bars on those solid end links. The bracelet is sized with screw pins rather than push pins. And to make sure that you're able to get a perfect fit, it even includes half links. The finishing on the bracelet, like the rest of the watch, is excellent, and the bracelet has a great taper to it. And to top all this off, they've included an extremely well-manufactured milled clasp that features tool-free micro adjustment. Like, this is about as good of a bracelet as I could hope for on pretty much any watch. And in fact, if you were just shopping around for an aftermarket bracelet that had all of these features that was this well manufactured, you could easily spend the price of this entire watch just to get this bracelet. And to me, that really highlights the level of value on offer here. But let's get back to the movement for a second. This features the Chinese-made PT 5000 movement, which is an ETA 2824 clone. The ETA 2824 is one of the most respected and widely used watch movements in the world. It is a workhorse movement that is out of patent, which means that it is fair game for many manufacturers to create this movement. Some of the more well-known ones are Swiss manufacturers like Sellita, but there are a number of Chinese manufacturers that make basically the identical movement. They're just produced in China with Chinese parts and labor. This is good news because it means that your local watchmaker will probably be very familiar with the architecture of this movement and can do services and repairs if need be. And while I do put a lot more faith in the longevity of a Swiss or Japanese movement, and that's usually my preference, if I am going to go with the Chinese movement, the PT5000 is one of my favorites. I've had a couple of watches with that movement in it. One of them did have problems when I initially bought it. I had to ship it back and get it repaired. But since I've gotten it back, it seems to be running just as well as any other watch that has an ETA 2824 clone inside of it. One thing I have noticed on this watch and other PT5000 powered watches that I've used is that the hand winding seems to be a little bit rougher with just a little more resistance that I'm used to on the Swiss counterparts. And after using the watch for a couple of weeks, I did notice that the threading and unthreading of the screw down crown did get a little bit rougher. And occasionally I did start to experience some difficulty getting the crown into the proper position for date setting or hand winding or time setting, which does bring up some valid concerns about the longevity of this movement. Okay, let's move over to the next elephant in the room, and that is that I tend to hate homages. And this is a straight up Rolex Datejust homage. I mean, they took every design cue from the Datejust, from the fluted bezel to the magnified date window to the shape of the case and bracelet. And so again, this is typically the kind of watch that I personally would not wear. And I'm not throwing shade on anybody who is into homages. I totally get that. But for me, that's just not my thing. But then they threw in that keyboard dial, which is just a quirky, fun thing that Rolex would never do. And it instantly makes this watch not look like a Rolex watch. I mean, nobody's going to look at this watch and think, oh, Rolex must have made that. A vintage QWERTY keyboard is kind of below Rolex's pay grade. My first job was working IT help desk, and we were kind of the blue collar of the white collar world. A huge part of my job was going around rebooting the computers of people who could actually afford a Rolex. And so to me, seeing a watch with this dial on almost has something subversive about it that I just absolutely love. And not only did I have fun wearing this watch and having an excuse to wear this watch because of that interesting dial, doing so really gave me a chance to appreciate how good of a design the Datejust is. I mean, this is just such a timeless and good-looking watch design. It's something that, again, is so simple, almost generic at this point, but it works so well in pretty much any situation. It's the ultimate dressy sports watch. With the metal bracelet, sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance, and screw-down crown, you can really take this watch anywhere, but it looks perfectly appropriate in business or formal attire as well. In fact, most people would probably look at this more as a dress watch than as a sports watch. I never thought I would like a fluted bezel, but just the way that it sparkles and the extra level of interest that it adds, it just has such a classic, timeless look. I came to appreciate that as well. And the 37mm diameter completely threw me. In fact, I didn't even realize that this was a 37mm diameter watch until I started preparing for this review and measured it again. I had thought I was wearing a 40mm watch the whole time. I have a slightly larger 7.5-inch wrist, but this thing just fits me perfectly. The small diameter combined with the incredibly slim design of just a hair over 10 millimeters thick, along with being able to get a perfect fit with that bracelet combined with the half links and the tool-free micro adjust, really makes this thing disappear on the wrist. And above all that, Proxima did make one tweak to the Rolex design, and that's that they didn't go with male end links, they went with female end links, which means that this is going to fit people with smaller wrists potentially even better than a normal Rolex would. So all in all, this is a fantastic watch at this price point. The main thing is going to be whether or not that QWERTY keyboard connects with you personally and your style or life experience. But if your hobbies include both computers and watches, this could be a no-brainer for you. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the review for today. Thanks for watching. Definitely drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this particular watch. If you're an IT guy, if this is the kind of thing you would be looking to get. And if not, what would be your idea for a cool dial that you would see in a watch like this that would match your interests and hobbies? If you are interested in this watch, I do have an affiliate link down below in the description. It'll help me out if you use that to purchase. Or you can go get a t-shirt at my website, justthewatch.com, like this one here. That's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.